eclectic method.
Out to remix video.
Hey, welcome to How to Remix Video. I've kind of done this in other places around the internet, but I thought I'd try and put it all in one place on my YouTube channel. If you're into video remixes but don't really want to know how to make them, this video is going to be super boring. So this is just for people who want to make remix videos. I'm going to be showing you all this in Magic Vegas. You can do this in other video editors, but I use Magic Vegas for two reasons. Because you can edit in beats and bars and BPM and it will ignore frames, and also because of the way it previews video with the RAM, so that you can kind of edit and loop a bit, and as you're editing it you don't have to re-render every time you make a change. You're just looking at a low-res version of what you're doing. To start off with remixing video, you get your footage, whether that's from ripping a Blu-ray. I've heard some people take footage off YouTube or whatever it is. Here I got a public domain movie, and you drag your file in and drag it along the timeline a bit, so I make myself some space, and then I create a new video track, and a new audio track will be created in a sec when I copy paste something. I just go through the movie and cut it. Now when you first bring your clip in, usually Vegas will give you the option of whether to open it at the frame rate and the size of the file. That's usually worth doing, unless you're bringing footage in with lots of different frame rates and sizes, in which case set it to the frame rate and size you're going to want to export your final video as. Yeah, so what I do is I'll go in, when I first start I always quantize to frames, so the file is locked to frames. You see here, pressing the right direction key, it jumps frame by frame forward. If you turn frames off, you can jump much finer than that. And the reason why that's useful is when you're making music, you do want to go finer and into more detail than the frame rate of video will allow you. But when you first start, quantize to frames so it's all locked together. And then when you cut, your cuts will be precisely cut on the frames. So later on when you do start moving stuff between frames, sometimes you get flash frames and you have to fix those later. So it's always good to start with pristine cuts. So anyway, I'll just go through. And what I usually do is I'll cut the film and I'll copy paste the clips to markers. So I'll separate the clips into different markers.
I propose to you, if you'd have been a gentleman,
and just take that bit and I'll just copy, delete it, paste it on this other line, and then I'll mute the video and the audio so I can't hear it.
forgotten all about it, but not.
And as I go through the film, I just copy paste it. Sometimes when I'm cutting, I'll set the speed to be faster. Not too fast, enough that I can still understand what they're saying. And quite often when cutting, I will look at the sound wave, because by now I know what sound wave looks like dialogue and people's talking, and what sound wave looks like music, where it's just a continuous sound wave. Okay, so here's a movie I cut earlier to better explain how I sort the clips. Firstly, I have what I call VJ clips, which are clips that look good but have no important associated sound. These are kind of used as filler later to cover bits where I have music but maybe it's not led by sound effects or dialogue, or if I'm playing it as a live video, I extend the beginning and the end without any sound effects or dialogue so that I can mix it in and out of another tune, DJ style. So there's VJ clips. Then I have musical bits if there's important musical moments in a film that I might want to feature in a remix. Then I have sound effects, which is just the best sounds with their motion. And sometimes I sort the sound effects into even more detail. So for Matrix, the sound effects have fighting and swooshing of arms in a kung fu style. Sometimes I'll also sort things tonally to auto-tune or try and make a melody later. So every time somebody goes ah or makes some sort of melodic tone in a word they say, I'll cut that and put that. But there's not that much of that in the Matrix, and not much in here. Then what I'll do is I'll sort all the sound bites I think are important from a movie into how they rhyme at the end of the sentence. So here are all the sentences that are sorted, ending something that sounds like it's rhyming with how.
The line was traced, I don't know how.
I do. You think that's air you're breathing now?
The Oracle will see now.
He gave his life for what he believed. I understand that now.
Do you believe it now, Trent?
And then sometimes I'll sort clips by theme. So for the Matrix, it'd be every time they talk about the Matrix or an Unreal World, and those won't rhyme. They'll just be so I can make a story out of the theme later. The reason why I cut everything into a big timeline like this is because I find it easier to organize into little ideas I'll use in a song later. So from all these parts, I've only chosen to use these 6 clips. And it's easy like this to just play it through and go, oh, I want these 4. Copy it, paste it here, and then drag it off into the project you're starting to make a track in. I usually open up 2 copies of Vegas to make a track, and I'll talk more about that in the next video. Another useful thing for cutting that I've been shown by DJ Second Nature is this site subzin.com. If you ever want to search for specific phrases, like let's cut it up, it will tell you all the movies and the time and seconds where these phrases appear in those movies. Sometimes I use this to get very specific. Okay, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments or feel free to email me on the site. I'm going to be getting into more detail in future videos.